Every weekday, the CBS daytime program, The Talk, takes a live and very lively look at everything that's going on. And all this week, The Talk will do that from New York.
We're cracking up here already. Co-hosts Julie Chen, Aisha Taylor, Sharon Osbourne, Sarah Gilbert, and Cheryl Underwood are all here in studio. Morning, guys.
Good morning. Tyler. You said
What did I say? Oh, my goodness.
It happens so often, I don't even hear it anymore. Yeah.
Starting off on the wrong
I think Jeff is doing really well.
Well, that's it. I'm just going to have to leave.
And he wasn't nervous at all.
And for the record, it was correct and prompter, so don't blame anyone else, all right,
It was
Jeff?
the prompter. It was the writer.
Julie's back for 5 seconds, and she's calling you out already.
No, but he was
Look at
flustered
me.
by her good looks.
Well,
I was flustered by her beauty.
I'll take
Exactly.
whatever you're throwing at me. Yeah.
Entertainment Weekly said last week, the week before, The Talk is finally finding its voice, thanks in part to the addition of Aisha and Cheryl. Julie, I mean, that's a great thing to read, too. It was a really nice article, giving you guys some much-deserved props.
It's a good feeling. You know, when Sarah Gilbert first came up with the idea of the show, you have a great idea, and then you put it on paper, and then you put it on television, and you kind of find your way. We all learned on the air kind of how to, you know, fit in with each other, do our jobs, and we found our, you know, it was like sea legs. And when Aisha came on as a guest co-host, Cheryl was already with us since the beginning of season 2, and you were filling in as a guest co-host for the day or a couple of days, and it was like Cinderella, the glass slipper fit.
Yeah, all
And
of a sudden, all of our opinions started coming out stronger. It was just this like magical fit. It was
Yeah.
really true.
these two ladies make us better.
It's been a little almost surreal in the sense that it just kind of it was, you know, sometimes things just feel like kismet. They feel really organic, and we were talking about it, that the show works so well that even when one of us is gone, it still works. But when we're all 5 together, there's something that's really electric.
But it was one of those things that was instant. It didn't take time to kind of feel, is it going to work, is
That's
it
a
not?
great point.
It just
When you know, you know.
happened. Yeah.
I mean, in
you
all
do.
seriousness, you know, it always sounds sort of cliched. I remember when my mother told me that. I said, how did you know with Dad? Well, you know, you know. It
Right.
sounds ridiculous until
Yeah.
you meet that person. And it's the same way it works. Sarah, is this, though, yeah, I mean, this is your baby. This is your brainchild. You're one of the executive producers. Is this ultimately where you guys are right now? Is this kind of, you know, where you saw it in the beginning? Or
I think, you know, whenever you have a vision of something, what it actually becomes is something different than what you picture. And when something works, it's better than what you even pictured. And so that's how I feel. I feel really blessed with what the show is becoming and with these co-hosts. And, you know, it's exceeded. I'm amazed it ever made it onto any kind of videotape at all. You know, I just think it's fantastic.
She thought she was going to have a web series on CBS. You started out with a budget of $25,000. They were like, yeah, here, go make your little show, Sarah.
But I know, I was like, I'm not putting it on the web.
But you know what's fun? I think from what Aisha and I can bring to the show and what we're learning from these 3 ladies, it kind of gives us the security to go ahead and just shoot some good jokes up there.
Right.
But everybody's getting some good jokes. We get to lay back and watch Julie hit a joke, Sharon hit a joke, and Sarah hit a joke. And we're like, all right, go to commercial. We're already doing it. You know, it's like being the bull
But that's like, too,
of
because
TV.
the way you describe it, too, it's very much
Yeah.
a team effort. It's
Yes.
not, it's oh, okay, I think, you know, this is a good place for Aisha or Sharon or Sarah or Julie or Cheryl to weigh in. I'm going to let her do that because I know it's going to work.
That's a really good point. I think it's not like we're trying to get our shots in. I think we're almost more excited when someone else gets their shot in, or when we tee something up and then, you know, like someone will say something and all of a sudden Sarah will zing it and you're like, oh, that's so great. It's like,
I
it's
like that
we're
too.
Yeah.
It is like finding your rhythm with each other and nobody trying to jockey for position. Nobody's trying to be, well, I got all the laughs on that show.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
it's like it's a team.
But the thing that's amazing, I feel like we've had some awesome co-hosts step in when people have missed shows. But when we do that, we a little bit crash on each other. Like, it's funny.
Does
we
it
are
takes like a day or two to get
yeah,
that rhythm down.
Yeah, it's like we do seamlessly kind of go through segments.
Yeah, it's like a dance that we have learned.
Yeah.
The 5 of us know how to not step on each other's toes.
That's cool. I mean, you see it just from these couple minutes here. Where'd the New York idea come from, Julie?
Well, you know, it's Christmas time, and don't get me wrong, I love Southern California, but when there's palm trees on December 25th, it just doesn't, something's not right. You know, Santa's in shorts and sunglasses, so...
With a surfboard.
Yeah, with the surfboard.
And just no shirt.
And we kind of talked about it as a dream of ours when we presented it to our executive producer, and they crunched the numbers, and they were like, okay, let's try it. I think we're getting our money's worth, or CBS is, because, we just did Howard Stern.
Right.
We're on the early show. We're getting press out there. The word is out. We're in the Daily News today, and it's special. The shows are going to look different and special for the holiday season.
And we want to talk a little bit more about the New York aspect of all of this, but we're going to save some of that for after the breaks. I know we have some special things we want to show. You guys talk a lot too. I mean, you have a lot of fun, but you also talk about a lot of serious topics and what's out there and what's happening right now. And I know specifically Jerry Sandusky and everything that's happening at Penn State has really affected all of you, and all for very different reasons. I mean, I don't know who wants to kick this one off, but.
I'll just say that I have a really specific relationship to the college because my husband's really related, very close. Everybody in his family went to Penn State. His father played at Penn State. Played for Joe Paterno, and my husband went to football camp with Jerry Sandusky. And people who know Penn State know that the people who have a relationship with the college is very intimate and it's very passionate. Because one thing Joe Paterno established there was this culture of ethics, like a really deep culture of ethics. Even bigger than the football program was kind of ethical commitment to certain moral principles. That's what's been so devastating for people who love the college. And I think the victims, what's happened to the victims is so tragic. And then the larger disappointment of a college really letting down everything it stands for, I think, is what's been really painful for us as a family. And I think for a lot of Americans and people who care about the college. I mean, this is going to take a long time to recover from.
Yeah, it was, look, even if Aisha wasn't with us that week, we would have talked about it, but Aisha took us inside the story that everybody was talking about, in the country. And you really gave, at least me, insight into wow, because it's so easy for us to stand back and judge. And you had to walk a fine line because your husband was devastated when the news came out. So you made us see both sides, and we got to talk about it with, I feel like more knowledge.
Yeah,
Really
and I
was
felt
helpful.
like Cheryl brought personal, history to it that was so moving and so brave of her, and I think that gave another angle to it that we were really lucky that she was so forthcoming.
But I think it's the way you all embraced me when I came on board that gave me the confidence to speak about something that most people would be ashamed of. And, I think that's what makes this show great. We can have fun, we can be good girlfriends and talk to celebrities and talk about products. But when you get to speak to something and somebody out there is going through the same thing and they can see, well, she went through it and she's getting comfort and support from her friends, then I can go to somebody and talk about what I've gone through.
And for me, it was just a case of nothing to do with CBS, just my own personal opinion. Just a dirty old Pediaphile.
Never get the word right.
Pedialyte, yes. Where's that
Never
Pedialyte?
get the word right. You would have thought it would have been us that wouldn't get the word right. The inventor of the King's English.
I was going to say, she
word.
speaks the King's English.
Right.
Dirty
Can't get the
old
word right.
pervert.
Just your opinion, Mrs.
Just my opinion.
Not CBS.
I think we still have Pedialyte in our fridge, but not a pedophile in our fridge. I don't believe that.
Well, that's where he belongs.
I was
Yes,
going to say,
locked
in
in
a fridge.
On ice. On ice.
Or the freezer,
fridge.
yes,
With
indeed.
genitalia.
It's not even 9 o'clock
Sharon
yet.
just wanted to see
lotion
whatever
or
words she could get out
Yes.
there as quickly as possible.
We're the Lion Tamers, and we have one singular lion on the show.
Or lioness,
I
as
love
the
it.
case may be.
I love it.
Anything that's off limits for any of you?
Clearly, no.
Not for Sharon, but for anybody else. I remember once, I think it was in the first season, Julie.
Yes.
I think you were saying, no SEX talk from me.
Oh, for me personally, conveniently, whenever, although just on Howard Stern, I think I spilled my guts. And my husband,
I love that you guys went on Stern, by the way.
I purposely have not looked at my email or my cell phone yet because I'm going to get it. Jules, are you crazy? What were you doing? Look, the great thing is if we have a topic that two of us say, I'm not comfortable with, and the other three are, it still works. And conveniently, every time it's a sex thing, I say, what is that? Oh, we got to go to commercial.
What do you
Now
think,
we know your
Julie?
secret.
I hear my mother calling me.
Control room, my IFB, I can't, no. They're screaming at me to go to
She
break.
tells us everything before the show.
That's true, I do say a lot in the morning meetings.
But don't you feel also like, I think, because it's such a supportive supportive group and we're all kind of encouraging, everybody feels a little bit more comfortable being forthcoming, that they don't feel like they're going to be judged or pointed at. You know what I mean? I think it's really like, it seems like, oh, they're not really girlfriends, but we really get along so well. They're like, yeah, tell that story, and we kind of balance each other out. We know.
Yeah, it's true. And I feel like the only time I really censor myself a lot is when I think I might hurt someone else's feelings.
Yeah.
That's when you kind of think, because, people are watching.
And I just say, oh, say it, Sarah. Just say it.
Brutally honest, Mrs. O.
I would say
Brutally
so.
honest.
Well, we're going to continue that brutal honesty thing right after the break here, right?
We are.